In this video, we are going to look at chemical engineering practical report format, where we have title page, aims, introduction, experimental theory, experimental method, materials and equipment. Experimental results / observation, calculation / data analysis, precautions, discussion and conclusion, and references. So let's look at each of the formats one after the other, starting from the title page. In the title page contains your course code and your course title. You have the experimental title, that is the title of the experiment. You have student names, the matric numbers, you have the group number. If you're in group A or group B, you indicate it there. You have the lecturer's name or the supervisor's name, that is the person that was in charge of the practicals. Then lastly, you have date of an experiment, the date that the experiment was held, and the date of submission, the date you are to submit the experiment. So the next one is the aim. Under the aim, you state the purpose of the experiment. Make sure you keep it short and clear. For example, to determine the efficiency of a sieve trade column. Then we'll have introduction. Under introduction, you look at the background of the experiment, the background of the title, the experiment that you're looking at. You look at the importance of the experiment in chemical engineering practice. You define key terms and concepts in the experiment, and you end with why the study is relevant. Then the experimental theory. Under the experimental theory, you present scientific principles behind the experiment. You also state the relevance law. For example, you have here Ra's law in destination. You state the equations that is involved. If there is any derivations, you include it. And then if there is any need, you can also include diagrams in it. Here we have the experimental method. Under there, you have step-by-step procedure that was followed during the experiment, and you make sure that this step-by-step procedure should be written in past tense or passive voice. For example, the absorption column was filled with ration rings. Then you can also mention some safety measures briefly. Then here we have materials and equipment. Under materials and equipment, you have list of chemicals that was used. You have list of equipment and apparatus with specifications that was also the use, and you also include a labeled experimental setup diagram. So here is the experimental results / observations. Under the observations, you note whatever physical changes or measurable changes that was noticed during the experiment. Then under your results, you have your tabulated raw data with SI units. For example, your temperature, your flow rate, or time readings, they all comes under your result. So we have calculations / data analysis. Under here, you show at least one sample calculation for each formula that was used. Then you also make sure you do a data analysis using equations, a plot, that is, you plot a graph if there is need for that. Then you make sure you also compare the value you have with theoretical / literature values under here. Then lastly, you perform error analysis. Under precautions, you write measures taken to avoid error and ensure safety. For example, ensured apparatus joints are properly sealed, avoid overheating during distillation. Discussion and conclusion. Under here, discussion, interpret results, trends, compare with theory. You can also mention errors and industrial relevant. Then the conclusion, summarize objectives and then findings. Lastly, we'll have the references. Under the references, ensure you cite sources in standard style. Make sure that whatever material/practical report manual that was used in course of writing your experimental report should be cited or referenced under here. You have some example below here.